Do you remember this image? I posted a video about it quite some time ago. Basically, this is the hint, or I guess an unintended little look at what the terrain map mode might look like in EU5 when it eventually comes out. And of course, we're eagerly anticipating the first full look at the full terrain map, and hopefully we get that as soon as possible. But there's another thing that we were talking about before as well, and that is the potential or the hope that we will be able to change the various terrain values, the modifiers, the terrain features of an area of land. And now, originally, this was brought up as an idea for the Netherlands, being able to create these, fill in land into the water to create more land. And while that's a cool idea, that is certainly not something I expected or even hoped for. I don't really care about that one too much. What was more interesting to me was the idea of draining a marsh, turning wetlands into sparse lands or flatlands, turning a forest into a wood, into plains, that kind of thing. That is what excited me and intrigued me, and the prevailing thought at the time, and backed up by some of the comments by the devs, was that they were making adjustments to the engine or something along those lines. They were waiting on code to be hopefully ready, and maybe then that could be possible. And we got a little bit of an update on this. A little bit of an update. It's not exactly the news we were hoping for, though I'd argue it's still good news. But we'll get into that. First of all, we have some replies to the Tinto talks on Wednesday. Some guy asking, how moddable is the system? If I wanted to add a fourth layer of terrain variation called level of magic, would that be possible? And St. Dave's saying here, the three types of terrain are quite hard-coded. So that initially doesn't sound like a great thing. But you can add custom modifiers to terrain, like heavy magical activity. Warhammer and Anbana fans are eating good with EU5, it seems. That has more or less the same effect as a terrain type. Fair enough. Moving on, can vegetation be modded back onto sea tiles, or is this hard-coded? And again, I feel like people are really focusing on turning water into land, and that is there's one really good example of that in the Netherlands, and then there's 1,000 examples of vegetation being changed. And I feel like that should be what people were focusing on. St. Dave here replying that he believes it's hard-coded for performance reasons currently. And then another comment. Okay, I know you can't do it now, because it will cause delays in the game for at least a year, but in the time span of 500 years, the vegetation of the world changed, and there will be the point where we want to change it in our gameplay. Talking about, changing vegetation. St. Dave here. We share the opinion that it would be a perfect feature for Caesar. But if it was as simple as us agreeing, then it would have been fixed 12 months ago. Unfortunately, it's a bit deeper than that, and with the unprecedented worldwide level of detail that Caesar has, it's a unique engineering challenge to make the required improvements to the graphical system as we're really on the cutting edge in several aspects. And really, graphical system is the word here that we need to focus on. Because while he's right, this demand to be able to change things won't stop. People will want to be able to change terrain types. And again, I don't care about making water into land. What I care about is the ability to deforest a place, to drain marshes. That kind of thing, I think, is going to be a big thing, right? I would love that to be what we can do. So going on to some Johan comments. Back in the first map dev post about the Netherlands, you mentioned not being sure whether or not terrain change will be possible in the game engine. Is there any change on that? Any hope for polders? Johan replying, it's probably not going to be feasible. And this is obviously unfortunate. It's, either informative or it's disappointing. Alright, this is pretty overwhelmingly a negative result, right? This is a neutral result. This is negative, this is positive, right? This is an overwhelmingly negative result. Moving on, though. Someone asking, is it a balance issue? Changing terrain is an engine issue. right? So it is something that is limited in the engine, and I'd argue that the engine should probably be changed. I mean, I know, right? It's going to be difficult, right? It's a unique engineering challenge to just change the engine, right? I know what I'm saying is basically a difficult request, right? And so Lude here saying, can some of these be changed by the player? Like well-developed grasslands turning into farmlands automatically. That would be amazing. I would like that. Or wetlands being drained because the king wants his palace built here. I see Versailles. Or forests being cut into extension in order to build a fleet. This is what I want. Right? I don't care about the water. I will keep pointing that out. I think that needs to be said. Currently our engine that is painted into the graphics so the visuals wouldn't change. Okay. And I don't care. On this map, I think what we can see in the very south here, I think this is farmland. I think these little squares and such, I think this is farmland. I think it goes on to some plains around here, and I think this is marshes. I would argue that even if we cannot change the graphical look of these areas, being able to change its mechanics is enough. It is a better situation to be able to change the mechanics but not the graphics than it is to change nothing at all. That would be my position, right? Obviously, ideal world, we change the graphics and the mechanics of every location depending on what terrain type it is, and then being able to change them not really at will, but at being able to change it via some in-game mechanics, right? Draining marshes, chopping down forests, etc. That would be the ideal world. If that's not possible, that's not possible. Okay, whatever. But let us change the mechanics. Let me drain a marsh and have the game say, yep, this is now sparse land. This is now flatland. This is now whatever. Congratulations, you have built up the farming sector in this location to such a degree that we are going to say that this location is now farmlands, not grasslands. Congratulations. You don't change what the graphics look like. I am not complaining. I'm not complaining. Because this is possible. I understand the game will not be able to change the terrain, but it will be possible to change the vegetation of a location. This is obviously what I'm asking for. For example, cut down forests, turn grasslands into farmland. If so, will such changes be reflected on the graphical map? I don't care if that is not going to happen. Changing it in the game logic is trivial. I am therefore of the opinion that this should be done. It's just that it will not change how it looks in the terrain map mode. Okay. Okay, I am okay with this. If this is all that is possible to do, this is still a massive, colossal, huge step up from EU4. If I am playing as Venice and I go on some absolute murder spree, trees, don't like them, cut them all down, I need a navy. And I absolutely rinse my land of trees to make my navy. I don't care if the terrain map mode still shows Treviso, let's say, as still having trees on it. I don't care if I can still see all of these trees here. Having the location, when I click on that location and it tells me all of the values and modifiers that are affecting that location, have that say this is now a grassland province, that's fine. That is a better situation than nothing changing at all. But anyway, that is a quick video for you to give you a little bit of an update on this whole terrain situation. I'd like to know your thoughts. What is your preferred realistic solution, right? If we can completely rule out the idea that the graphics are going to change, what is your ideal solution with that in mind? Please let me know in the comment section below. And also, if you would like to help me hit 30,000 subscribers before my son goes to college, then drop me a sub, because that would be quite nice. Anyway, I will see you guys in a couple of days for the rest of the comments and replies to these threads. I just thought these ones were particularly important to put in its own video right now. So, hope you don't mind about that, and I will see you in a couple of days. Toodaloo, bye-bye.